Good afternoon. It's February 1st. I'm Alana Pranjic. Welcome to skedLIVE. Here are your news headlines for the day. Jean Gomeshi is on trial today for sexual assault. Skedline reporters Anas Siddiq and Ryan Swain are at Old City Hall following the story.
Old City Hall, where the trial of Gian Gomeshi has begun. Gomeshi arrived just before 9 a.m. to the courthouse to a bit of a media circus. He did not answer any questions posed to him by the media and had no comment. His lawyer simply said that they were ready, quote. In the court, however, Gomeshi has only said 2 words thus far, which is not guilty. We hope to find out today or perhaps tomorrow whether Gomeshi will testify on his own behalf. One of the interesting things in this trial is that it is a trial for sexual assault, and in any sexual assault trial, all victims are automatically covered under a publication ban.
Thanks, Anas. Check out skedline.com for more. The trial of 2 men charged in the killing of Tim Bosma began this morning. Dylan Mullard and Mark Smith are both accused of first-degree murder in Bosma's death. In May 2013, Bosma left his home in Hamilton to take potential buyers for a test drive in his truck that he is selling online. A week later, his body was found burned beyond recognition. Both men have pleaded not guilty. An elderly woman was pronounced dead on the scene after her car crashed into a house near Kipling and Lakeshore. Go to skedline.com for more on this story. Moving on south of the border, tonight Iowa voters begin the nationwide process of choosing a new U.S. president. Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are fighting for the Democratic nominee, while frontrunners Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio are fighting for the GOP's nomination. Iowans will begin choosing candidates tonight at 7 p.m. For more insights on this story, go to skedline.com. Now let's go over to Amrita Chopra for your business headlines.
Thanks, Alana. Canada and 11 other nations will sign the Trans-Pacific Partnership later this week in New Zealand. The TPP will create the largest free trade zone in the world with 12 countries around the Pacific. The US, Japan, Australia, and Mexico are among those 12 that make up 40% of the world's economic output. The agreement will reduce tariffs on a wide range of goods and services, including the auto and agricultural sectors. There is backlash from the Canadian Auto Workers Union, who say the agreement would cut jobs. In response, Canadian politicians say that the partnership would increase auto exports. Scientists in Britain have been given the go-ahead to genetically modify human embryos. The country's Department of Health has approved a license by a stem cell scientist from London. The research could help scientists understand why some women miscarry and provide better clinical treatments for infertility. Designer babies are a concern, but professors say the prospect is a long way off. The decision permits scientists to study the embryos for 2 weeks for research purposes only and does not allow implantation. McMaster University researchers have developed a new test that helps diagnose diseases. The test uses a dose of reactive material printed on a strip of litmus-like paper that changes color when a patient spits on it. So far in the lab, the test has been able to detect genetic sequences for breast cancer cells and hepatitis C. Researchers say that the test can be applied to any disease humans have unlocked the genetic code to, and getting the test on shelves isn't too far away. McMaster says that for now, the tests are meant to help doctors decide on a course of treatment. A Massachusetts Institute of Technology team won the SpaceX Hyperloop pod competition on Sunday in Texas. Conceived by SpaceX and Tesla founder Elon Musk, the concept would transport riders in sealed tubes to different cities at speeds of over 1,000 kilometers per hour. Musk announced the winners at the event, where 125 engineering teams from universities across the world presented their pod designs. This summer, 22 teams will be advancing to the next round in California, where they will get to build and test their human-sized pods on a real track. Facebook has decided users can now have more than one emotion. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said that more than 6 new emotions will be added along the current like button. The prospective buttons may include love, haha, wow, sad, and angry. Each of these buttons will be in an emoji-style face that can be seen below a Facebook post. Zuckerberg says that the intent is to allow people to share all of the things that are meaningful to them. I'm Amrita Chopra, and that's all your BizTech news for today. Now back to Alana in the newsroom.
Thanks, Amrita. The World Health Organization has declared the Zika virus a global emergency. The declaration of the global emergency will fast-track international action and research. The United Nations agency said last week the virus is spreading explosively and could infect as many as 4 million people in the Americas. The WHO was recently criticized over reacting too slowly to the Ebola epidemic, which killed more than 10,000 people. A Taliban suicide bomber has killed 20 people and injured at least 29 in Kabul. The attack happened when the bomber stood outside a police station today. Some reporters say majority of those killed and injured were police officers, and others say it was mostly civilians. The Afghan capital was hit by a series of suicide attacks last month as the Taliban stepped up their campaign against the Western-backed movement. The increase in attacks has coincided with international efforts to restart peace talks between the Taliban and Afghan government. The United Nations announced today that the Syrian government has approved a UN request for an aid delivery to 3 besieged Syrian towns. Peace talks to end the 5-year-old Syrian conflict are underway in Geneva, and the Syrian opposition has said it will not take part in discussions until all sieges are lifted. In total, there are 15 siege locations in Syria where 450,000 people are trapped. Now we're going to check in with Jonathan Tonin, who has sports.
Thanks, Alana. The Humber Hawks sports teams have really been impressive as of late. Skedline reporter Brian Aguilar has more on these stories.
Thanks, Jonathan. The Humber Hawk teams were a perfect 8-0 this past weekend. The men's basketball team extended their winning streak to 9 games after back-to-back wins on the weekend. The Hawks had a 10-3 record and was third in the West before play on Saturday. The Hawks won their first game against the St. Clair Saints with a 99-81 win. Forward Tyrone Dixon led the Hawks with 17 points and 12 rebounds to earn his 4th double-double of the season. The team continued their winning ways on Sunday with an impressive 89-81 win over the Lambton Lions. Freshman forward Bayot Judge led Humber with 18 points combined with another strong showing by Tyrone Dixon, who scored 15 points and 8 rebounds. The Hawks started the game with a 26 run but struggled to hold on to the lead as the Lions took a 2-point lead at the end of the first half. They opened the second half with a 14-2 run to retake the lead. The Hawks held on to it and never looked back to capture their 9th straight win. The team's success was attributed to getting their key players back from injury. They also owned the best defense in the West, holding their opponents to an average of 65.8 points per game. The Hawks are currently tied with the Sheridan College for second place in the West with 3 games left in the regular season. Up next is the Redeemer Royals on February 5 at 8 p.m. Meanwhile, the women's basketball team was also successful on the weekend. They extended their undefeated record to 15-0 with back-to-back wins against the St. Clair Saints on Saturday and Lambton Lions on Sunday. During Saturday's 79-66 win against the Saints, Natalie Hagopian scored a game-high 22 points. Freshman guard Felicia Velasquez set a career-high 12 rebounds in the game. The Hawks were dominant in their 85-48 win against the Lions on Sunday. Center Jillian Semple and forward Leanda Kerr both scored 16 points in the game. They will play against the Redeemer Royals on February 5 at 6 p.m. The men's and women's volleyball team also had a strong showing at home, winning all their games on the weekend. The women's volleyball team clinched a playoff bye with the wins on the weekend. The team improved the record to 14-0 after a straight set win against the Boreal Vipers on Saturday and Cambrian Golden Shield on Sunday. Meanwhile, the men's volleyball team ended their 3-game losing streak with a straight set win against Boreal on Saturday. The team continued their playoff push with another straight set win against Cambrian on Sunday to improve their record to 9-5, good for 6th place in the West. Both teams will play the Redeemer Royals on February 6. That's your Humber Hawks roundup. Back to you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Brian. The NHL All-Star Game in Nashville was a hit. The Pacific All-Stars won the tournament led by Captain John Scott. The 3-on-3 games featured 3 different games between all 4 divisions in a winner-goes-on tournament. The Atlantic All-Stars beat the Metropolitan All-Stars 4-3, and the Pacific All-Stars routed the Central All-Stars 9-6 to lead to the final game. Corey Perry of the Anaheim Ducks scored the lone goal of the final game for the Pacific All-Stars to win 1-0. John Scott took home the tournament's MVP award. With all the controversy around John Scott playing in the 2016 All-Star Game, he was the one that took home the MVP honors. Scott scored 2 goals against the Central All-Stars to lead his team to victory. Not your typical All-Star, Scott was voted in by fans and has publicly stated that the NHL's officials have tried to make him decline his invite to the NHL star-studded game. With his pregnant wife and 2 daughters in the stands, he won a brand new truck as MVP. Current NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has signed a contract extension until the year 2022. Bettman has been commissioner since the 1992 season, which means that at the end of his contract, he would be at the helm of the NHL for 30 years. 2 lockouts have occurred in the NHL when Bettman has been in charge. The Toronto Raptors are looking to win their 12th game in a row tonight when they play the Nuggets in Denver. All-stars Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan have headlined the Raptors on their club's record 11-game winning streak. The Raptors are 32-15, sitting second in the Eastern Conference, 2.5 games behind Cleveland. And the Nuggets are 18-30 and are 12th in the West. The game tonight starts at 9. In other news around the NBA, the Golden State Warriors improved their record against the Knicks to 44-4 with their 116-95 win. Klay Thompson led the way with 34 points, and Draymond Green had a triple-double. The Clippers beat the Bulls yesterday 120-93. Veteran Jamal Charles had 26 points for the Clippers, and DeAndre Jordan pulled down an impressive 20 rebounds. In Eastern Conference matchups, the Miami Heat won at home against the Atlanta Hawks 105-87. The Orlando Magic beat the Boston Celtics at home 119-114. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Phoenix Suns 91-78. The Portland Trail Blazers edged out a victory at home 96-93 against Canadian Andrew Wiggins and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And finally, Kobe Bryant had 23 points as his Los Angeles Lakers fell short to the Charlotte Hornets 101-82. Team Irvin beat Team Rice in the 2016 Pro Bowl yesterday 49-27 in Hawaii. Russell Wilson threw 3 first-half touchdown passes to lead Team Irvin, compared to 1 touchdown from opposing quarterback Derek Carr. Travis Kelce from Team Rice had 2 touchdown catches for most in the game. With the Pro Bowl being played yesterday, that means next Sunday will feature the Super Bowl between the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos that will be played in San Francisco. Novak Djokovic wins his 6th Australian Open title. The number 1 seed Djokovic knocked out Britain's Andy Murray in straight sets 6-1, 7-5, and 7-6. The Serbian-born has won the last 3 Grand Slam titles. I'm Jonathan Tonin. That's it for sports. Now back to the studio.
Thanks. Award-winning actress Alfre Woodard will receive the first Career Achievement Award at this year's Toronto Black Film Festival. Woodard is recognized for her work in films such as 12 Years a Slave and Steel Magnolias. Woodard was also nominated for her Academy Award for her role as Geechee in Cross Creek. The award show will be held in Toronto on Saturday, February 13th at 9 p.m. Following in Black History Month news, Canada Post is creating a stamp in honor of a Black Canadian unit from the First World War. Black Canadians were initially turned down when they stepped forward to join the fight. After much perseverance, they gained the right to join Canadians overseas in a predominantly Black unit. 100 years later, the soldiers are being recognized for their determination through the new stamp. Humber College is also participating in Black History Month. Humber's Gospel Choir and the Toronto Mass Choir are joining together for a musical celebration. This year's performance will also feature Humber alumni. The show will be held at the Lakeshore Campus Auditorium on February 12th at 8 p.m. Grease Live aired last night, which was Fox's first attempt at a live television musical. The show featured Gillian Huff as Sandy and Aaron Tveit as Danny. Actress Vanessa Hudgens dedicated her performance to her father, who passed away from cancer on Saturday. Critics said that although the show features tons of hair gel, bright colors, and energy, nothing will compare to the original. The 22nd Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards aired Saturday night. The film Spotlight took home the top prize, beating out The Big Short and Straight Outta Compton. The Best Male Actor award went to Leonardo DiCaprio for his role of Hugh Glass in The Revenant. Brie Larson won Best Female Actor for her outstanding performance in the film Room. The Lifetime Achievement Award was presented to Carol Burnett. This award is given to the actor that shows the finest qualities of the acting profession. Idris Elba won Best Supporting Actor for Beasts of No Nation and the Best Actor in a Television Movie for Luther. Elba acknowledged the diversity that the show had after many actors of color took home awards. Queen Latifah won Best Actress for her performance in Bessie, and Viola Davis won for her role in How to Get Away with Murder. Kung Fu Panda 3 kicked The Revenant out of the top spot at the box office this weekend. The film earned an estimated $41 million, although people were worried that its winter release would not be as successful. The Revenant moved down to the number 2 slot, earning about $12 million. Still remaining in the top 3 is Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which could break the 2 billion mark by the end of this week. That's all your entertainment news for today. Now back to Alana in the newsroom.
Thanks, Sabrina. Hundreds of lawmakers are being sworn into Myanmar's parliament today. The National League of Democracy, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, have enough seats to choose the country's first democratically elected government. The country was under rule of the military for half a century. The Constitution bars Suu Kyi from becoming president, but she says that won't stop her from making key decisions. Ethiopia is in one of the worst droughts in decades. Over the past 6 months, herds have been destroyed, crops have dried, and drinking water has become scarce. United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon visited the Halo village to pump water from a hand-dug well as meet with farmers and relief workers. Meteorologists are blaming El Niño weather phenomenon for the lack of rain. Over 300 plumbers spent their weekend installing water filters to Flint residents, free of charge. On Saturday, plumbers from unions across the country traveled to Flint to install new faucets and water filters. Thousands of people in Flint, Michigan have been exposed to unsafe levels of lead in their tap water due to the neglect of state and federal officials. Now, here's Johanna Tucker and Jang Lee Tian with your forecast.
Thanks, Alana. Today is another relatively balmy day considering it's February 1st. Right now, it's 4 degrees and sunny. This day last year was a high of -6 and a low of -13 to give a little bit of perspective. Tomorrow we will see if the beloved groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, will see its shadow. Just a refresher, if the groundhog doesn't see its shadow, spring will come early. If it does, 6 more weeks of winter for us. That is, if winter ever does come. Now let's head to the studio with Jiang Li Tian for your 5-day forecast.
Thanks, Johanna. This morning, the weather has been quite chilly with a mix of sun and cloud. The wind has become light this afternoon. It will get cloudy tonight. Tuesday will be mainly cloudy. Wind at 20 kilometers per hour in the morning and then increase to 40 in the afternoon. On Wednesday, it will become cloudy with 60% chance of showerings and 40% chance of flowers. Tuesday and Friday will be a mix of sun and cloud. I'm Johnny Tian. This is the weather update. Back to the studio.
Thanks. The sunshine and warmer weather seems to be having an effect on Canadians. 2/3 of Canadians say they are pretty happy, and 80% say they are satisfied with the overall quality of life. In a report released by the Angus Reid Institute, only 18% of Canadians say they are not too happy. Canada currently ranks as the 5th happiest country in the world, with Switzerland taking the top spot. Those are your headlines for today. I'm Alana Pranjic. Thanks for watching.